Welcome back to our channel. What would you do if you turned on the TV and saw your own obituary? In today's video, we remember the beloved American figures who died today and in the last few days. The quiet strength of Dee Freeman, the familiar face of Nicholas Brendon, the man who survived his own obituary, Michael J. Fox, and the story that reminds us. Sometimes the headlines get it wrong, but the fight behind them is very real. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to help us continue sharing these stories. Thank you. Now, let's begin.
Hello, I am Dee Freeman, so make sure that you check me out on Music and Medicine.
Dee Freeman, the warm, unshakable presence behind Valerie Barnes on Tyler Perry's Sistas, passed away heartbreakingly on April 2nd, 2026 at 66, taken by stage 4 lung cancer. Her family confirmed she left this world peacefully after a fight they called brave and fearless. What most people never knew, in January 2026, while audiences were watching her in season 10 of Sistas, she was already fighting for her life behind the scenes. Her path here was unlike anyone else's. Born in Louisiana in 1959, she joined the U.S. Marine Corps straight out of high school, on a dare, served 6 years, became a radio DJ in Japan, then built a career spanning 80 stage productions, 2 NAACP Image Award nominations, and 60-plus television roles across Seinfeld, Dexter, The Young and the Restless, and beyond. Even as her illness progressed, she never stopped. At her death, she was still writing Poison Gun, a novel about her bootlegger grandfather's murder and buried cans of money her family never spoke of. A story only she could tell, now left unfinished. When asked how she was holding up in her final days, she simply said, "Can't complain. On the other side doesn't do you any good." That was Dee Freeman. Her publicist remembered her as someone with a quiet power that commanded respect without ever needing to demand it. She leaves behind her children Amber and Shane, and a season 11 chair no one else could ever fill.
This is Ford, my bestest friend of all my friends.
Nicholas Brendon, Xander Harris, the heart of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, left us far too soon at just 54, gone peacefully in his sleep. He didn't come to acting with a gift. He came with a stutter, a desperation to be heard, and nothing else. He quit twice, came back at 25, and somehow landed 7 seasons alongside Sarah Michelle Gellar and Allison Hannigan from 1997 to 2003. Playing the only character in the group without powers, the one who just showed up anyway. Fans told him for years, "You made it cool to be a nerd." What came after was harder. When Buffy ended, something broke. The years that followed brought rehab, arrests, and pain he eventually traced to childhood abuse he revealed publicly in 2015, a wound carried in silence for decades, then a heart attack in 2023, multiple spinal surgeries, and a body that kept failing a man who kept trying. But in his final years, he found something quieter: painting, photography, art. Those closest to him said he was optimistic about the future when he passed. He was found by a friend who had been staying overnight just to care for him. "Nobody's watching me," Xander once said on screen. Sarah Michelle Gellar quoted those exact words to say goodbye, then added softly, "I saw you, Nikki."
I know a lot of actors, and, just look in their eyes. They try to be happy.
Chuck Norris, martial arts world champion, action legend, and the face of Walker, Texas Ranger, passed away at 86 in Kauai, Hawaii, leaving behind a legacy that stretched far beyond any roundhouse kick. He was never supposed to be any of this. Born in 1940 in rural Oklahoma to an alcoholic father who disappeared early, he described himself as the shy kid who never excelled at anything. It was a broken shoulder in a military hospital in South Korea, of all places, that introduced him to martial arts. He didn't just learn it, he mastered it. 6 consecutive world middleweight karate championships from 1968 to 1974. Black belts in 5 disciplines. The only American ever awarded an 8th degree black belt in Taekwondo. When his chain of karate schools collapsed, Steve McQueen told him to try acting. He did. Missing in action. A Delta Force. Walker, Texas Ranger, 9 seasons, broadcast across more than 100 countries, watched by tens of millions who never made a single water cooler conversation about it. And then the internet turned him into something else entirely. One of the very first memes in history. The shy kid from Oklahoma became an idea, but the moment that defined him most quietly came in 2013, when his wife Gina was poisoned by MRI contrast dye and her body felt like it was on fire. He walked away from Hollywood without looking back, slept on a couch beside her hospital bed for months. "My whole life right now is about keeping her alive," he said. His family remembered him simply. To the world, he was a symbol of strength. To us, he was the heart of our family. 9 days before he died, he posted, "I don't age, I level up."
Was actually brilliant, and I know people say that about their parents, and my mother was absolutely...
Judy Pace, the trailblazing actress who moved millions as the devoted wife in Brian's song, passed away peacefully in her sleep at 83. She started by breaking every door she could find. In 1961, the youngest model on Ebony's Fashion Fair national tour. By 1963, the first black woman to sign a long-term contract with Columbia Studios. In 1965, the first black bachelorette on the dating game. In 1968, the first black villainess on American television, in Peyton Place. In 1970, an NAACP Image Award for the Young Lawyers. And in 1971, Brian's song, watched by 55 million people, half of every American household with a television. But she didn't just act. When she met baseball legend Curt Flood on the dating game in 1966, she couldn't have known she was meeting a man whose career would be destroyed for standing up to an entire sport. She married him in 1986, sat beside him through throat cancer, held his hand until he was gone in 1997, then spent nearly 3 decades making sure the world remembered who he was. She stepped away from Hollywood in the 1980s to raise her daughters. One became a lawyer. One became an actress. A woman who broke barriers quietly, loved fiercely, and never stopped fighting for the ones who couldn't fight for themselves.
There's a reason why they say movies are magic, because movie can change your day. It can change your outlook.
CNN just published his obituary. He was giving interviews at the same time. Not a glitch, not a rumor. A full memorial video, a tribute article. Remembering the life of actor Michael J. Fox. Live. On CNN. His rep had to call the press, "Michael is doing great. He was on stage at Paley Fest yesterday." Fox himself got on Threads and joked about pouring boiling water on his lap just to confirm he could still feel pain. The world laughed. CNN apologized. But here's what nobody said out loud. This wasn't the first time someone told the world Michael J. Fox was finished. He was 18 years old, sleeping in a room he could barely afford. No diploma, no connections, no plan B, just a kid from Alberta, Canada, who had followed his father across military bases his whole childhood, never in one place long enough to belong anywhere. He moved to Los Angeles with a suitcase and a conviction most people would have called delusion. For months, the only thing in his kitchen was boxes of macaroni and cheese, a dim light still on past midnight, an empty phone, a city that didn't know his name yet. But that wasn't the real story. The real story started with a lucky accident. Matthew Broderick turned down a role. The producers called a backup. A skinny kid nobody had heard of walked in and became Alex P. Keaton on Family Ties, the fast-talking, sharp-witted teen that made America fall in love with him before he turned 21. 3 Emmy Awards, 1 Golden Globe, and then 1985 came, and Marty McFly drove a DeLorean through a bolt of lightning, and Michael J. Fox became one of the biggest stars on the planet. He had everything except peace. And what came next? Nobody saw it coming. It was 1990. He woke up the morning after a night out with Woody Harrelson. Ferocious hangover. He looked at his left hand. His pinky finger was moving on its own, not shaking from the cold, not trembling from fatigue, moving, slowly, like it belonged to someone else. It wasn't mine, he said later. It was somebody else's. He stared at it, tried to stop it, couldn't. He was 29 years old. That should have been the hardest moment of his life. It wasn't. The doctor didn't soften it. Progressive, degenerative, incurable, you lose this game, you don't win this. Fox stood on the street outside the clinic. Traffic moving, people walking past, life continuing completely normally around a man whose world had just ended. I remember standing on the street looking for an answer. My world blew up. He had just married Tracy Pollan. He was the most in-demand actor in Hollywood. He had 400 things to look forward to. And a doctor had just told him his own body was going to take all of it away. Slowly, irreversibly, on its own schedule. So what did he do? He hid. For 7 years, Michael J. Fox went to work every single day and pretended nothing was wrong. On set, he timed his medication down to the minute, calculated exactly when to take each pill so the tremors would be suppressed during filming. He held props constantly, a coffee cup, a pen, anything to keep his hands occupied, hidden, still. There was only one reason I took those pills: to hide. At night, he drank. He didn't call it what it was for a long time, but it was what it was. Here's the part that hits hardest. The man America watched every week, charming, effortless, light, was alone in hotel rooms, counting hours between doses, trying not to think about the word incurable. You can't pretend at home that you don't have Parkinson's, because you're just there with it. He drank to disappear into something louder than the fear. And it was destroying everything: his marriage, his work, the version of himself he was trying so hard to protect. But someone refused to let him disappear. Tracy Pollan, the woman he met on the set of Family Ties, the woman who had married him knowing the diagnosis, who stayed through the drinking, who watched him vanish into himself, and waited. He got sober in 1992, went public with his diagnosis in 1998. And then, instead of retreating, he walked straight toward it. In 2000, he founded the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. He testified before the U.S. Senate. He raised money. He raised awareness. He kept going. And just when you think the story turns around, 2018, a new diagnosis, a tumor on his spinal cord, unrelated to Parkinson's, but threatening him with full paralysis, risky surgery at Johns Hopkins, weeks of recovery. Then, 4 months later, a fall in his own kitchen. Shattered left arm, a steel plate, 19 screws. He sat on that floor, this man who had spent 20 years choosing optimism like a discipline, and for the first time said out loud, "I can't put a happy face on this." Then came the other arm, the elbow, the cheek, the shoulder, replaced entirely. Then his mother died in 2022. A reporter asked how he keeps going. Every day it gets tougher. It sucks having Parkinson's. No violins, no performance. Just the truth from a man who had earned the right to say it. But that still wasn't the end. June 2024, Glastonbury Festival. Hundreds of thousands of people in a field in England. Michael J. Fox walked on stage with Coldplay, his body moving the way Parkinson's makes bodies move now, unsteady, unpredictable, unmistakably his. He picked up a guitar and played. The crowd lost it. By January 2025, President Biden placed the Presidential Medal of Freedom around his neck, the highest civilian honor in the United States. 5 Emmys, 4 Golden Globes. $1.5 billion raised for Parkinson's research. A foundation the New York Times called the most credible voice on Parkinson's research in the world. A face. Parkinson's has slowly frozen. That has to fight just to smile now. Still showing up. Still making the joke before you can make it for him. It's the gift that keeps on taking. CNN got it wrong yesterday. But if you know the full story, the kid eating mac and cheese in a bare apartment, the doctor's words on a sidewalk, 7 years of hiding in plain sight, the floor of a kitchen at 57, the Glastonbury stage at 63. You understand why the mistake felt almost absurd. This is not a man who goes quietly. He said it better than I ever could. Some people would view the news of my disease as an ending, but I was starting to sense it was really a beginning. I don't know who needed to hear that today, but I think someone did. If this story stayed with you, subscribe. Every week we tell the stories behind the people you thought you already knew. The real ones. The ones they don't put in the headline. And tell me, which part of his story hit you hardest?